here just in case we need touch-up. Thank the Lord.
Here's the problem. Sue Flanagan is not on Facebook, but that's okay.
Well, actually,
No, she
this is on Facebook. This is on YouTube
Oh,
simultaneously,
We'll
and
make her watch it. I'll make her watch
and it's also on our website. It's in 3 places
Oh, all right, good.
simultaneously. It's pretty cool, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like we're on ABC, NBC, and CBS.
Yeah.
Except with less viewers.
Yeah.
A lot less viewers. But hopefully we'll get a couple.
What is this, episode 43?
This is episode 43. Hello, everybody. This is our pre-show. Sorry that I ignored you. I don't even know what camera to look in because Frank J. Parisi is hiding the camera. So I'm just going to scan 1, 2, and 3. For all I know, she has Lori K on the wireless NDI camera.
Okay, you're on your...
Oh, wide. We're wide. Huh, that's pretty cool,
we
Frank.
are recording.
And we're recording too, Frank? Wow, look at him. By the way, just so you know, I learned today how to do a mixed recording without any graphics.
What do you mean?
So not only can we record it with the graphics, with the lower thirds and all that kind of stuff,
Oh, also just get the raw.
I can get all 3 cameras mixed together, but none of the lower thirds, if we ever wanted to change any of that.
Just want the raw footage.
That is
That's
correct.
helpful.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. We're just so cool here at the OK Corral. Lori K., how are you?
I'm good, Cliff. How are you?
Frank,
Yes.
when I say Lori K., how are you, it's your job to cut to Lori K.'s camera. How many of these have you done?
43.
Plus,
Plus be right.
actually 42, because you went MIA to Florida.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And Lori K. had to do that one.
That's right.
Lori, you get more than one shit for that.
I do?
Yeah.
I know. I really helped you out that night.
You did. You helped me out of the doo-doo.
It is okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Lori K., did you have a good weekend?
I had a good weekend.
I know you hurt your back.
I did. I hurt my back on Thursday.
And
I was crooked. I was literally crooked.
you hurt your back. I know. I was at a client's location in Manhattan getting ready to stream like a major deal for a client. And I know Lori's in bad shape, so where I was, they wouldn't, the phone, like I couldn't get my phone working. So I had to go into their network and I FaceTimed her. And she was like this. Hi.
I was on the
Oh,
couch.
really?
I was dying.
How are you
Really?
doing? Fine.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was muscle spasms.
And then she went to the doctor and she got these muscle relaxers.
Oh, so
thought
you went in the other direction?
Another direction, I thought she was an LSD.
I never in my life took a pill that I couldn't even feel my feet. It was the most awful. I was like,
She was almost catatonic.
yeah, it was so weird.
Yeah.
So weird. It was a weird drug. I took
Yeah.
it the next night too, though.
I'm not going to try. She wants me to try one. I don't want to try one.
I'm like, you have to take one of these just to feel this strangeness. But my back had these major muscle spasms, and it was like so tight from my neck to my
Yeah.
back. I was like walking very crooked, and I mean, you obviously can't function on this medication. So I was like, if I just take it at least 2 nights, it did totally relax me. And then I slept for 10 hours. So I took it again because I just wanted to get rid of the pain. But that was it. I didn't take it last night. And I'm a little stiff, but it's so much better than what it was.
But she's a real trooper too, because, by the way, you need to keep track of time because my clock is over
Got it.
there.
You're
It's
still
working
good.
with the camera right now.
You're still good.
Because she was in a lot of pain. My daughter was going to come out Saturday and spend Saturday and Sunday with me. We were going to go out Saturday night, my daughter and I, and Sunday, and she got sick. So Lori was kind enough to take me out to dinner to a Cuban place where the chef, Alan Gauthier, also known as he was also a professional boxer.
He was.
We went there for dinner, and I didn't eat all day because I thought my daughter was coming out and we were going to go to this Greek festival in Brookville. And I had 2 sangrias at Babalu. I don't really remember anything after the second sangria, but I know the food was good. We had empanadas. We had empanadas. We had empanadas. We had empanadas. Frank J. Parisi. We had empanadas.
Sorry.
Sorry.
He goes, sorry. Oh, empanadas.
You know, you get what you pay for.
Evidently.
Yeah.
Evidently.
You can tell, right? Yeah. And do you know that I actually pay him sometimes?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Usually it's in food. Or peanuts, no.
Right.
Beer.
Peanuts.
You know, I have no
Yeah,
beer for
no,
you
that
tonight.
is true.
Yeah. But those empanadas they're awesome.
They're
He
excellent.
makes everything from scratch at this restaurant.
Oh, really?
He makes the empanadas from scratch. He has this ceviche, which is
Tuna
a
ceviche.
tuna with avocado on top. And it has goat cheese in it. If you look at it on the screen there,
Oh, it looks great.
it's awesome.
So good.
Also, his desserts he makes from scratch there. He makes his own ice cream there.
Bravo, Lou. I have to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. I'm not going to say it's a down and dirty type place, but it's not like a high-end restaurant.
yeah, it's middle.
cozy. It's fun. He has music there on Friday nights. Oh, yeah, that's the tabbouleh,
Delish.
which is actually barley. I said to him, I said, Alan, why do you call that tabbouleh? It like tastes like barley. He goes, that's my twist on it. Okay. But it is delicious.
Yeah?
Yeah. And
And there's my favorite.
Lori loves the wine mojitos.
It's a wine mojito. Oh my gosh, it's so fun.
What do you mean it's fun?
It's fun. It's a fun drink.
Yeah.
One is
Fun meaning sweet? Oh, fun
No, it's
meaning-
not really like sweet. It's just, it's very refreshing. It's very light. I mean, I only had one because I obviously had to drive because this one couldn't put left foot in front of his right foot.
I didn't need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
funny.
It's a great place to go.
We don't
Bottle
really
of
drink that
Huntington. Love
much.
it.
So we don't have a very high tolerance to alcohol.
Right.
So if one has a little bit more than the other one drives.
Well, at least you're responsible.
Yeah.
We're very
Right?
responsible.
We try.
Yeah, we're very responsible.
try.
No, we don't try. We're very responsible.
very
When
responsible.
it comes to that kind of stuff. Right, Frank?
Yeah, I've seen it. Eyewitness.
Yeah. So, and what time is it now, Lori?
5:29. I have. You
Oh, so we
5:30,
have
Frank?
like a minute.
Yeah, your clock is right.
Oh, I
Lori,
have
when it's
5:29.
5:30, you say to me, Sobel.
Sobel. Do you know
it's
what time it is?
No, no. Well, you can do that if you want.
Okay.
Do you want to do that tonight?
Sure. It's
Then you have to
it's
cut to
not
Lori,
5:30
Frank.
yet, though.
Lori's going to do the whole thing rolling in
No,
at
I'm
5:30.
not.
Are you not?
No,
Oh, okay.
because I think I know it. I've heard it 100 times, but I don't know if I know it.
Okay.
But I will let you know when it's
You have to
5:30.
let me know when it's 5:30.
Got it.
Our guest is very relaxed. We gave her some of your muscle relaxers,
Yeah,
right?
that's
yeah.
crazy stuff. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we read about it. It's pretty strong.
And
Yeah.
he said to me, "Don't drive on this drive."
that should've
I don't
told
even
you
think I
that
could
right
walk
there.
down the whole way in my house.
Don't
much less
drive. She
a
could
car.
barely sit in her couch.
Yeah, it was crazy. Clifford, it is 5:30.
It is?
Yes.
Frank J. Parisi. It's 5:30 p.m. Do you know what that means?
I do.
It means you have to cut to camera one. Because you know what, Frank J. Parisi?
What?
Let's roll 'em. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anatomy of an Entrepreneur, where you just never know what's going to happen. And tonight we have picture, we have sound, we have our technical director, Frank J. Parisi. Of course, the J is a must. And Lori K., also known as Lori Kelleher, is back tonight making a cameo appearance to handle all comments and chat. Anyway, we have an awesome show for you tonight, but let me take care of a little housekeeping. This show is brought to you by My Instant Office. If you need a desk, a chair, an office, a conference room by the day, the week, the month, come on in, sit down, and get to work. You know what we say, Lori?
What do you say?
Just add yourself. This show is also brought to you by and sponsored by the Huntington Chamber of Commerce. Lori Kelleher, did you know that the Huntington Chamber of Commerce is the largest chamber of commerce on Long Island?
I did know that
How did you know?
because you say it every Monday at 5:31.
Oh, okay. And their associate director, Terry, I don't know if you know the associate director, Courtney Bino
I don't.
or
I
Ellen.
don't. I know
O'Brien?
Ellen, yeah.
Ellen you know, but you don't know Courtney.
No.
Courtney's been there a very long time. Anyway, I once said to Courtney, I need something to say to the audience about the Huntington Chamber of Commerce. So she was quite witty, and she said, tell everybody it's the best darn chamber in the world.
There you go.
That's all I got. Anyway, we have a fascinating show tonight, seriously. I feel very lucky that I got this person to say yes. I mean, this is like Hooterville with Sam Drucker at the drugstore. And here I have on the president of the Hauppauge Industrial Association, the HIA. And as a matter of fact, I had read that it's the second largest industrial park in the country, second to only Silicon Valley.
Absolutely.
So I would like to welcome Terry Alessi Miceli
Thank you.
to our show. Thanks for coming.
Great to be here.
So tell me, is that true, that it's really that large?
It is. The industrial park is the largest in the Northeast and the second largest behind Silicon Valley. Absolutely.
Why doesn't anybody know that?
Well, they do now. They do now.
And we have such a large audience. But that's really amazing. I started my career, I worked for Pitney Bowes in Manhattan. And the sales rep on Long Island who had the Hauppauge Industrial Park, he was like the #1 sales rep in all of Pitney Bowes.
Well, now you know why, right?
Because it's
the
so
second
gigantic.
largest. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's really
And
amazing.
it's only 11 square miles, so it's extremely dense.
Yeah.
If you went to Silicon Valley, you drive for miles and miles and
Right,
miles
I've been
to get
there.
from one building to another.
Yeah,
so,
I've been there,
yeah.
and it is. It's large. It's very large. And so it fits in this 11 square miles. That's a lot of revenue.
It is. I mean,
Do you know what the revenue is? If you put it-
absolutely. So probably about 3 years ago, we embarked on doing an economic impact study for this park, and we found out $2 billion in spending. $2 billion.
Wow.
Not million, $1 billion in spending. $3 billion in payroll. $14 billion in sales volume. I mean, it is
14
a
billion?
major economic engine. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So that means that the Hauppauge Industrial Park is intrinsic to the health of Long Island.
Absolutely. It is the anchor.
Right.
The
it's like
anchor
the
of Long Island.
Macy's or like
Yep.
the IKEA
Right. Of Long Island.
of Long Island.
That's true. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
But even bigger than like Grumman ever was.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the things we found out, Cliff, is that there are what are called tradable industries or tradable sectors, and in the industrial park, 58% of the buildings are tradable sectors, which means exporting goods that come in and things that come in from out of the country. For every $1 that comes in on Long Island, $2 come in from the Hauppauge Industrial Park. So it's a major economic engine.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That means we have to get involved.
Yeah.
Somehow we need to get involved. Lori,
Yeah.
you live in Hauppauge.
I
Start
do live in
calling all
Hauppauge.
those
Yeah.
offices.
Let me see if I know anybody.
Yeah, and Lori has all those tax benefits
Yes,
of
I
living
do.
in Hauppauge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Huge benefit.
Whereas
to
in
live in
Northport, we're going to get our
Yeah.
cookies eaten.
That's right.
Right?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. So, but the HIA I don't believe would be as successful as it is without someone like you at the helm. And I'm not just saying that to say that, but I know a little bit about your background, and I want to talk about that because of what you bring to the table. But I want to start with like you as like a kid. What were you like as a kid?
Yeah. I was very, very lucky to grow up in an environment where I was just constantly all around businesses, even as a young kid, and just always talking about businesses and always talking about revenue streams, even as a young kid. I loved music. I played the cello. And I was not a tall kid, and it was a very big cello,
Yeah.
but I just love anything creative and artistic. I loved Broadway. I loved theater. So I think all those things just came together, the ability to do events as well as the ability really to run a business, you know?
I
So,
know that you were like you were a salesperson in an earlier career, which means you need to either be a people person or you need to learn to be a people person. Were you a people person as a kid?
I think I was shy. I was shy, but I cared about people, right? So that's almost, people think those two don't go together,
Yeah.
but you know, what really helped me come out of my shell is my father, when I was about 16 years old, put me through a Dale Carnegie course. And he
Oh,
said,
is
this
that
will
how you
help
got
you,
started?
yeah, this will help you with your self-confidence, this will help you, you know, decide what you want to do with your life. So that really was the thing that obviously began my career. As you know, I worked for Dale Carnegie many years after that.
Yeah.
But that was the thing that really formed me in terms of my people skills.
Ah, that was a great place for you to end up.
Yeah,
To help bring you out of it.
yeah.
My grandfather was friendly with Dale Carnegie.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah, and my brother has the book
How to Win Friends?
signed by Dale
Oh,
Carnegie.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you were there for 18 years.
Yeah.
In what different types of capacities were you?
Yeah, well, I started in sales.
Yeah.
So, you know, they ran at that point, and they still do public programs where people could come in with other people they didn't know. And then I moved my way up to what was called corporate sales, which is where we go into organizations and we'd either create training for them and/or they'd come in as a regular class just from that one company. And then I moved up through the years. So it was just the best place. I said to you, it was the best place to start my career.
It's like you grew up there.
Yeah, it shaped my leadership style.
Did
It
it?
absolutely shaped my leadership
That's
style.
so cool. You know, you had vicarious learning through your family, right? You
Absolutely.
learned vicariously
Yep.
through them,
Yep.
which, you know, sometimes you don't even realize what you're learning.
Right.
And then you really did learn hands-on at Dale Carnegie, probably in addition to vicarious learning.
Yeah.
Which is part of that cumulative experience that
Yeah.
got you where you are today.
So, you know, I have to laugh, Cliff, because what I remember is my boss at the time came into the office one day and said, Terry, I'm going to retire. He was the managing director of Long Island and at that time Queens. And he said, then I'm going to put you in to take my spot. And I have to tell you, I thought there was no way I would be able to handle that. No way. But, you know, I believe so strongly in mentors. One of the things he said to me was, listen, if you treat people the way you treated our customers when you sell, and you manage people the way our management training tells you to manage them, and you just do the right thing for people, you absolutely cannot go wrong.
And here's the other thing. I think communication and setting expectations is key to all that. Because if you feel like you really don't know what you're doing, but you really can't show people you don't know what you're doing,
Right.
you got it because you got to figure it out. But if you just keep them in the loop and keep communicating with them and be transparent with them, I think that's really important part of getting through it.
Critical.
What was
Critical.
what was like the fear like for you when he said that?
Oh, I mean, what ran through my mind, I remember it like it was yesterday, is how can I do this? At that point in the company, Dale Carnegie's company, there were not a lot of women in those roles. I
Right.
think there were probably 2 other women, and then I came along. But I thought to myself, you know, and I think I've always been able to, and I've always been coached. I've had a lot of great mentors say to me, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway. Really just get in there, and if you're passionate about it and you do the right thing, it'll happen. And I just went into that type of mode. I just never let them see me sweat. I understood every day was a learning day for me, so I just
Right.
reaped it all in and spoke to people. So, I mean, all that helps. But the fear was,
You know, I know that I put myself in new situations regularly, and I have that same fear. But I think it's rougher for you because you're a woman.
Yeah.
Because on top of the fact that it's like all this new stuff that you're not really sure you know how to do, but now you're a woman, and this is before Me Too.
right.
And so not only do you have to learn all that new stuff, but now you have to prove yourself twice as hard as a woman.
Yeah.
How do you get through all that?
Well, I'll tell you what helped me. That's so funny that you said that, because when I was growing up, again, I'm very, very lucky. My father, and he still is to this day, a very large mentor of mine, always said to me, if you want to go into business and learn business, learn the profession of business. He never said, be a woman in business, right? He said, learn the profession of business. So I got to learn profit and loss statements. I got to learn you know, cash flow situations and revenue streams, so that, believe it or not, the fear didn't come from me being necessarily a woman. I just forced myself to put myself in situations where I was in a lot of boardrooms.
Right.
So I was constantly out of my comfort zone. It was just constant. So the more I did it, the more comfortable I got with it. It
Yeah.
was like anything else.
It's like anything else.
And even
Yeah.
today, I mean, I just pushed myself in a lot of different areas to do things that I'm uncomfortable with.
Right. It's very good to not get complacent.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know that I'll ever want to get complacent.
Right.
I think you have to just keep on learning.
Right.
Lori, was there something you wanted to say, or? No, okay.
Just listening.
What's that?
But, well, I know Terry's dad, Frank.
Yeah.
He's this big teddy bear.
Yeah.
Well, that's the side that I know. But you know what I mean? Like, for him, your dad, and that he pushed you
Yeah.
like that is,
Yeah.
you really can't ask for anything better than that as your parents, like, telling you,
Yeah.
you can do it,
Yeah.
just go out and do it. I also have parents like that, like, never made me think that there was anything different or anything, and you just, if you want it, you earn it yourself, and
Right.
so
Never
it's
told me
nice.
I couldn't do it. Always
That
said,
was something
do what?
as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
You can.
Okay.
He just always said to me,
Yeah.
and my mother was the same way. I mean, they were very, very encouraging.
We have a video of you from another show
Yeah.
that I want to play. Do you know where that video is, Frank? Right on your left is a little blue earpiece. Mm-hmm. Put one in your right ear, because I want you to hear it. I hope she hears it. Go ahead and test it. Ha ha. And Frank, could you play that video? Lori, sorry, you don't have
I come from
headphones.
a long line of entrepreneurs. So my dad, my uncle, and grandfather owned construction companies. My cousins today own one of the largest wholesale bakeries on Long Island. They service all of 7-Elevens. So, our conversations at a dining room table were never about what I couldn't do. They were always about what I could do. And that was always about business. It was about how do you create different revenue streams? How do you look at a business, and how do you start a business, and where do you want to grow a business? So I was always encouraged and really intrigued by business itself. I think, by the way, when I was with Dale Carnegie training, the way that helped me is, imagine having the privilege of walking into a company, Joe, and really talking to a CEO, again, at a very young age, and really talking about what a business is and how it works and what it's going to look like in the future. I mean, it's always just intrigued me.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Tell us about that clip. Tell us about, not the clip itself, but tell us about, you can just throw that in the back. Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah. So, my youngest memories were of my grandfather, who owned a construction company, coming home, filthy. I mean, he was in the construction business, but always talking about, what had happened in the business and how you service customers. And so I don't know, I don't know many kids have the opportunity to really get involved in that type of discussion and give input into that type of discussion.
So not only was there discussion, but you were allowed to give your input.
Yeah,
And you got a great support.
absolutely. And I watched everyone in my family and anyone who I really surrounded myself with work. They were hard workers. They had earned the right. Dale Carnegie says, earn the right to speak about something. I mean, these people had
Absolutely.
earned the right to do what, they do, which was really, really important. It molded me for the rest of my life. Absolutely.
Right. So that is so important, and that's part of the cumulative experience to get where you are today. Did you ever how did you handle failure?
Yeah. So I remember my first retail job. I got fired. Oh my God, I was devastated. Devastated. It was a clothing store. I worked in the Smith Haven Mall at the time. And I remember just driving home as a kid. I was in college, helping myself go through college, driving home thinking, oh my God, what did I do? I mean, how did this happen? And
Why did you get fired?
they let go of a bunch of us, but
Right.
but my point was, it was such a bad feeling.
Yeah.
I remember distinctly thinking, I'm not letting that happen again. That is not going to happen to me again. But I think what it does for you, Cliff, and I think we have to feel the very highs and the very lows. That's what
Yes.
life is about,
Yes.
right? Is I really do feel like every day is a learning day. Every single day of my life, I learn something different. I'm open to change. Even sometimes when it's uncomfortable, I just kind of migrate towards it, to
You
learn
have to
something
push
new.
through it.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
because you're not going to grow unless you keep doing that.
Right.
That seems to be, to me, it seems to be a consistent theme that keeps coming up with you as we're talking.
Right.
Lori actually went through the same thing. You were working in the Smith Haven Mall also. Is that where you got laid off?
Many moons ago. Yeah, yes, I got fired.
Same,
I got fired.
Same thing. And Lori also had a very supportive family. And what happened when you went home?
I went home and I said I lost my job, and they just kind of
Who's they?
patted me, my parents, they kind of patted me on the back for the rest of the night. And the next morning I woke up and there was the Newsday with the help wanted ad, a pen and a pad. And my father said, have fun looking for a job today. Like there was
no
there
blip
was
in the
no
screen.
right.
Yeah,
I got the rest of that night to
Yeah.
wallow in my sorrow,
Right.
and it was okay. Get a job, and it was get a job, and
Yeah.
it wasn't allowed for me not to have a job.
Right.
They just didn't allow that. You
Yeah.
know, because you could get stuck in a rut of not working. And the next morning, I woke up. There was like a box of cereal, a bowl, and I was like, this is for me. Like, oh yeah. My father's like, start calling, and I was like, because those days you looked in the Newsday and
Right.
you made a phone
Yeah,
call, and
right.
that's how you
Right.
got a job,
Yeah. That's
But
right. Yeah.
it was the next morning, like not even 24 hours.
Yeah.
I'm all about that 24-hour thing, and I just didn't
Right.
get it then either.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. But
Listen, I remember my dad as a kid getting laid off and going out and trying to get another job. And he, in the interim, worked with my grandfather and my uncle in the construction business, and they actually didn't have boots that fit him, so he had to wear boots like 2 sizes too small. It was crazy. But I watched him work really, really hard because he understood he had to pay the bills,
Right.
right? When I was a little kid.
Right.
And he had to do the right thing. So again, I think, listen, as parents, we model experiences for our kids. Not only what we say, but how we say it and what we do is
Or
a model.
not saying it
Yeah.
and just being the role model. I
Absolutely.
think that's more important.
Right.
And I think that's in entrepreneurialism, dealing with failure, dealing with challenges, having a good support network is imperative to becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Or anything that you want to be successful
Yeah.
in.
I think the difference now with me, Cliff, is that that experience that I talked about, like with Lori, was many, many years ago. But now that I'm more mature and older and running my own organization, when something doesn't go right, because it doesn't always go right, I really, really do learn from it. I look at it and say, okay, what could have we done different? Or what does this need to look like the next time? So, that's how an entrepreneur has to think
And taking
act.
responsibility for your actions
Right.
and being able to discuss them so that other people know, hey, my boss showed her vulnerable side. You know what? I guess I can too.
Right.
And that sets a tone.
Right.
And as a leader in an organization, the most important thing you can do is set a tone.
Right.
Is the most important thing you
Right.
can do.
Absolutely.
So, but you were at Dale Carnegie. Did you go to IBM after that?
I interned at IBM,
Oh, so that was
it was
before
before that. So again, great experience.
Right.
At that point in the marketing department, but I was surrounded and watching real professional people and what they were doing and how they were doing it.
Right.
So it just led me to, the funny piece with Dale Carnegie is, other than when I became managing director, one of the things that happened is,
Yeah.
quite by accident, I ended up hiring an all-female staff. Quite by accident, really, because I went out and I chose what I thought was the right people
Yeah.
and absolutely hard workers. And we, for years and years and years, won top honors. We'd go to conventions and be the first and the second in the country. And people would scratch
cool.
their heads and say, how did you do that? And I'd say, I treat people the way they want to be treated. Let me just start there. That's where it starts and ends,
Yeah.
right? And you set expectations and you celebrate the small stuff, and you continuously do that.
Yeah.
So people were just puzzled by it. They could not figure it out. And I'm like, I think today too, it's not that difficult to figure out. It really isn't.
Well, it's not, but only 2 or 3% of the population figure it out.
Yeah,
Because
that's
the other
true. That's
97%,
Right.
they don't want to figure it out.
Right.
It has to do with desire.
Yeah, that's true. You're
And
right.
If you desire it, you'll work at it to do it.
Right.
And so, while it's not magic,
Yeah.
it's hard work.
Right.
It's hard work, and that's
Right.
what you do. You do
Right.
hard work, and that's why you've been successful.
Yeah.
What led you to the HIA?
Yeah, so as I said before, I began to seek out leadership opportunities outside the community because we were selling outside training. So I needed to really establish myself in the outside world at a very different level than what I was doing in selling. So I looked at board opportunities to get on board. So one was the Long Island Regional Planning Council, and they're a phenomenal group that looks at deems projects of regional significance. The other was the Suffolk County Girl Scouts, near and dear to my heart. I was a
Yeah.
Girl Scout growing up and really helps with leadership skills. And the third was, at that time, they were called the Hauppauge Industrial Association, now HIA-LI. So I was on the board probably for about 8 years. And one of the original founders came to me, called me up one morning. He said, meet me for breakfast. Met him for breakfast. He said, you know, we're really thinking about we have a great culture at the HIA-LI. We really need to grow the business up. We really need to look at how to grow it, how to add processes, strategic planning, which is really what I did for Dale Carnegie Training as a managing director. And he said, what do you think? And I had no intentions of leaving Dale Carnegie, no intentions. But as I thought about it and as we really talked about it, they really needed help. And it was a great opportunity just to do something and really dig my feet and my arms and my legs in and
Yeah.
really make a huge difference.
Was this another one of those opportunities where you went, I don't know if I can do this, or did you feel more comfortable at this point?
Yeah, I think I felt a lot more comfortable, although I wasn't necessarily sure what I was getting myself into, but I had been on the board of directors, as I said. So, you know, the value to that is the board of directors has a fiduciary responsibility. So we needed to look at the profit and loss statements,
Right.
and we needed to look at revenue streams. So I did feel a lot more comfortable. I worked for 3 months at night at the HIA-LI and during the day for Dale Carnegie Training. So I could really create a succession plan at Dale Carnegie, and I could work with the person who was currently there
Wow.
at the time at night. So I was, what I felt, fully equipped and prepared. What it was surprising to me, I have to tell you, when I took over, though, is, you know, organizations like that, and you talk about the Huntington Chamber, they're phenomenal, other chambers and Rotaries, you know, they work off of volunteerism. So that part I really wasn't used to. I wasn't used to, you know, having people really do things for us that really weren't getting paid to do it. But the value to it is my Dale Carnegie Training just, again, chimed in.
Right.
Talk about when you appreciate people.
And your family.
When they don't have to do it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it really just, it
What do you-
was perfect.
What do you think it is in people like you and me, because I'm an entrepreneur, that we just go, this is scary, but I'm just going to do it? What is it? What do you think it is? What's that personality flaw? What's that, you know, what's that
Yeah.
personality trait? Why do we do that
Yeah,
stuff?
you know what? I'm not, you'll laugh at me, but because somebody once asked me that question, I'm not sure it's any different than, I love roller coasters. I just love roller coasters. And I have a 12-year-old son, right? And he loves roller coasters, and the thrill of that roller coaster just turns me on. That's a part of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
it's the
excitement.
thrill of it, the excitement of it. But I think the other piece of it really is that that there's just a strong core and a strong belief that, gee, I'm going to do this.
And
And
you
if
can make a
I can't
difference.
do it, nobody else is going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to
Right.
make a difference.
Right, you can make a difference in it.
It's just a very strong core, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
And it's almost like, even though you're like get a little concerned or a little bit nervous, it's almost, but it's still this this bigger part of us that goes, I'm just going to do this,
Right.
and I'm not going to fail.
Right.
You just don't let yourself fail,
Right.
which is actually what happened. So you take this job at HIA. How long ago is that?
It'll be 15 years.
Oh, you've been there a long time.
Yeah, it'll be 15 years.
And so, what was the learning curve like there?
Yeah. So again, you know, my assumption was, wow, you know, I've been on the board for 8 years, and it's like anything else, it was new. But what I did, and this gentleman who was at Dale Carnegie Training, his name is Dick Hatfield, who doesn't live on Long Island anymore. But again, he said to me, he was that little voice in my head that said, if you treat people the way they want to be treated, the first thing I did is I went in and I did a needs assessment. So I met with every single board member at that time and every single employee at that time to really ask them, what do they feel they do well? What are the challenges they have? Where do you see us growing? And I'll tell you, I got all the answers right there. I really did, because not only did it help them buy better into the process, obviously, because they're a part of it, right? It's part of how we set expectations. Is we don't really understand people, or we're not understood until we really understand other people. We're really not.
Right.
So that was a very big piece of what happened.
Plus, you're earning trust at the same time. when you
Yeah,
do that.
absolutely, absolutely. And again, the biggest challenge I found was the volunteer piece, is to really understand who the volunteers were and how they interacted with us. And, you know, they give a lot of ideas, and they're still to this day great ideas. We have some great member companies as well. But they're volunteers. So, you know, it's not their job or their role to be able to take all those things and put them into action. They help us.
Right.
There's leadership there. So that was a difficult hump for me to get over.
Do you find that when you're dealing with volunteers, an organization like that, that in a way they're your customers?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I have several groups of customers right now.
Right,
So
and I was
one
gonna
is,
ask you, tell me about them.
absolutely, is our board members. My board members, the best people I am surrounded with. Someone once said, surround yourself with good people, right? I mean, they're really phenomenal. My board members are my customers, the volunteers are my customers, my staff. They are
Definitely.
my internal customers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And then the outside world, the outside collaborative efforts and things that we do. So everybody, they're all customers, really.
Right, so you have to treat them all as customers, yet at the same time they have different needs. So you have to attend to their different needs based upon who they are in the organization.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
No.
Because sometimes they conflict, right?
Absolutely. But, you know, I do remember, again, my Dale Carnegie training rings in my head, and somebody once said, what I need most of my life is somebody to help me do what I really can do. That really what they want in any one of those buckets is either a mentoring experience, a coaching experience. Sometimes they're coaching me and mentoring me, but they're much more like than they are unlike when you really look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was one of like your first big successes? Do you remember it?
At the HIA-LI?
Yeah.
Probably when we went from about 350 members, and our first hump that we went to was about 600 members, 650 members. And I
How long a
remember
period of time?
thinking, wow, maybe a year,
Wow, that's
maybe a
pretty
year and a
incredible.
half. Yeah. Because again, what we focused on was first the internal process and then the external process. So not only how to treat people, but now add a process to that, right? So employee reviews, processes that looked at membership, processes that looked at how do we acknowledge and appreciate people, all those things.
Would you say you're process driven?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds
I mean,
like
you really need to be when
Yeah.
you run a business. Or if you're not process driven, you need to have people around you who support
Totally
you
agree.
that are process
Yeah.
driven. Somebody has to have a process someplace.
How
Yeah.
many members are there now 15 years later?
About 1,000 member companies, but that represents thousands and thousands of business professionals, because when someone becomes a member,
Yeah.
everybody in their organization can take part in the HIA-LI.
Tell me about some of the initiatives that you guys are focused on for, let's say, 2019.
Yeah. So absolutely the biggest one is the way we started the conversation, which is this Hauppauge Industrial Park project. Our board chairperson, Joe Campolo, came to us probably about 3 years ago. And we had always advocated for the park. So we got the first child care center in the park, the Cope car. We've done a lot in the
That's
industrial
really
park.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. he came and he said, you know, we really need to understand the impact of the industrial park because we didn't. And I gave you some of the stats before,
Sure.
but what we found out is far more than we ever thought. I mean, we give $19.6 million in total tax assessed value back to the town of Smithtown alone. Hence why Lori gets such great tax benefit there. It is a major, major economic engine, a major. So that piece of what we're doing right now is very large.
Right.
So we're working on how to facilitate growth, how to attain and retain workers.
So does the HIA offer lots of training and classes and things like that?
Absolutely. We do a lot of education
For the members?
for the members. So
And
we,
what about for their employees?
absolutely.
Okay.
So we have 15 active committees, and those committees range anywhere from a sales and marketing committee to business development, healthcare. A lot of them really evolve around industries or skill sets. So anybody who's a member or any of their employees can get involved. So there's a lot of education. There's a lot of how do you understand healthcare? You know, what has to happen with healthcare and healthcare insurance? How do you sell? How do you develop a business? How do you
Right.
develop revenue streams? So here we have a lot to offer a lot of people.
That's really cool. And so those are some of the initiatives for this year. Do you have like long-term initiatives that you're working on?
We do. I mean, you know, my passion, so just told you I have a 12-year-old. My passion is to, and our passion as an organization is to be able to help kids stay on Long Island. I read a stat the other day. It was crazy. 67% of kids on Long Island, millennials on Long Island, plan to leave Long Island within the next 5 years. That's crazy.
Because it's so expensive to live
Crazy.
here.
And they have nowhere to live. And so we know that by the year 2025, 75% of the workforce will be millennials. So if they're all leaving and we need millennials to work, we're in trouble. We're in big
So what are
trouble.
some of the initiatives that you guys do
So,
to do that?
So
to
we're
handle that?
working right now with a lot of the institutions, the colleges and other people really to look at how do we better connect business to college. So when you look at Silicon Valley and you look at Stanford University, when those kids graduate, they have places right in Silicon Valley to work.
And it's just as expensive to live there as it is Long Island.
Probably more expensive.
Or more expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we're doing is we're creating that type of relationship with Stony Brook University and Suffolk Community College and a lot of the colleges on the island. A lot of the kids don't think Long Island is sexy. You know, they want to work at Google. They want to work at Facebook. They want to
live in
work at
Brooklyn.
LinkedIn. Yeah, they want to go into Brooklyn. Yet, look at these downtowns that they've developed. And we continue to develop. I mean, have you been down to the Village of Patchogue lately?
Absolutely. Yeah, Lori and I have been there.
Yeah?
And even Bayshore.
It is amazing, what they're doing. Ronkonkoma will be the Ronkonkoma hub will be the next big thing.
Right. So, but we have to continue working at it.
Yeah.
Because it's such a big issue. The real estate taxes here. Also, the transportation here is really lacking.
Yeah. Well, you know, listen, as you look at Long Island, we really haven't focused on infrastructure, right? When you
No.
think about it, even the expressway and just getting to places, it's just, so now they're beginning to see that. The state is reinvesting money in infrastructure, but absolutely it's a big challenge, yeah.
Right. So, and where do you see the HIA going? Like, where do you see it down the road? How do you see it evolve? You must have like 5-year plans and things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see us absolutely, this project with the Hop Hog Industrial Park continuing to be at the forefront because about 80% of our companies are small business. So when you look at Long Island, that's talking about entrepreneurial, it's an entrepreneurial spirit. So I see us servicing a lot more of that type of entrepreneurial spirit, but particularly in the industrial park, I see restaurants and walkability and absolutely places and apartments and people to live so that sector really looks like a downtown.
You know, it's a challenge for you to accomplish what you saying you want to accomplish. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
How do you deal with those challenges and the failures and, you know, like how do How do you deal with that? Because it's so difficult to make those changes here, and they have to be very incremental.
Yeah, they are. You really need to, you need to celebrate the little things. You need to celebrate that we got sidewalks in a certain area. You know, that's a little thing, but leads to a much bigger thing. I think the other thing that we as an organization at the HIA-LI do really, really well is we collaborate really well. So we collaborate with our competition really well, with some of the other business organizations out there, with the Long Island Builders Institute, and they do some great things. But we also collaborate really well with government. So that whether we're very, whether it's Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, we are talking to all of them all of the time. We are telling them the business challenges, but it's daunting. It is daunting because we move at a snail's pace. What I'm seeing now in the development industry on Long Island is I'm seeing that the towns are opening their eyes up to doing permits quicker and helping business quicker. So that's a big deal.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, but it's a long process.
Yeah.
It's a and the problem with us today is we want things now.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen now,
Yeah.
that's no good.
Yeah.
But nothing really ever happens now.
No, we think it does, but it really doesn't.
It really doesn't.
really
It
doesn't.
takes years.
It's
to do
you have
things.
to be in it for the long haul. It's like running a business, right?
My first business took us 7.5 years until we started to show a profit.
Absolutely.
This, I've been doing it for 3 years, and we're just starting to build revenue now.
Yeah.
Just now.
Yeah, and that's a trait of an entrepreneur. It's somebody who really understands that, these businesses that have enough revenue for the first year and then all of a sudden go out of business, that's what happens. They don't have the long-term view of, gee, I need to be in this probably a lot longer than a year
Yeah.
to make something happen, for people to pay attention. So that's really important.
And part of that goes back to the support you get when you're younger to
Right.
know that you can stick it out and that you can do this.
Yeah.
Those things all tie together. You even said this. It's the accumulation of everything you've done which has gotten to you where you are today.
Yeah.
And you need all those pieces to be able to move ahead.
Yeah.
And that's part of the grit.
Yeah.
The grit of sticking to it.
Yeah.
and
And listen,
doing it.
I've never taken the conventional route. It's
Yeah.
never happened for
Yeah,
me.
me too.
Part of it, I think, by design. The other part of it, strong will. It all came together, right? At some
Yeah.
point. I mean,
Yeah.
I at the point I had my son, I was at 46 years old. And at that point, that was 12 years ago, I was the oldest woman in the doctor's office that was pregnant, that delivered naturally. I mean, I have never taken a conventional route really in anything in my
That's
life.
very impressive.
Yeah.
It's very, very impressive.
I felt good about it. I felt good about it.
Well, not only were you 46, but doing it naturally in your 46.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah, what a gift, right?
Yeah, it's really great. Lori, are there any questions?
Question. Where do you, so you've been talking about the Hauppauge Industrial Association and the 5-year plan and everything that it's doing. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Good question,
And what
Lori.
goal do you have for yourself that you want to reach within the next 5 years?
Yeah, so, it goes back to, Lori, what I said before. I mean, I really want to help create a place where my son and kids can stay on Long Island if they choose to do that. So I see myself absolutely at the HIA-LI, absolutely. I see myself doing more things like we're doing right now to get the word out. I see myself creating a very firm succession plan of someone who will come after me and really looking at, what it needs to take to grow this organization to the next level.
Like to see the millennials. I mean, they go away to school, and then lots of times they stay where they go because they go, I can't move back home. I have to either live back with my parents or try to get an apartment here. And we're sending these very intelligent, bright young kids all over the country, and we really need them here because in the big picture, Long Island, we're just a skinny little island sticking out of New York. And
Right.
although we're very dense and very populated, there's a lot of great businesses here, and a lot of famous people and famous things have come out of Long Island, and it would be nice to be able to keep that.
Yeah.
You know, but like you said, it is costly, so that's a great thing.
Yeah,
It's a great
you know
thing.
what? I think that's part of the challenge. Part of the challenge is that people really, kids in particular, but people in general don't understand the gold that we have here. I mean, look at, we're surrounded by beaches. Very famous people have come out of
Right.
Long Island
Yep.
who have been extremely
Tons.
successful.
Tons.
Very famous companies. And I go back just for a second to the Hop Hog Industrial Park, by the way, that we just renamed. We did a survey, brought young kids in. We renamed the park from a branding, and it's called the Long Island Innovation Park at Hop Hog.
Smart.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
But what we did and what we're doing right now is we're looking at what's coming out of, what type of companies, what they're doing in the park. It is astronomical. There's a company called Tiffin Manufacturing.
Yeah, I grew up with
Steve
Tiffins.
Tiffin, who they've won several Emmy
They
Awards.
won Oscars.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, who knows that? Nobody knows that.
I
We were
do.
in. We were in a company the other day, Contract Pharmacal, who is the largest over-the-counter drug manufacturer in the world, right in Hop Hog.
wow.
Really?
So yeah, we have to continue to talk about things to our kids about
Yeah,
things like
yeah.
that, because again, they see Google, they see Facebook,
well, but they
see
want
LinkedIn.
sexy companies.
Yeah.
Right.
They want Google, they want Facebook, they want WeWork, they want Pinterest.
Right, right.
You know, Tiffin's not sexy to them. A drug manufacturer is not sexy to them. But we have to figure out a way to brand it to make it sexy.
Yeah,
Because sexy is all in your mind.
absolutely. And you know, I think the way to do that, I'm convinced the way to do that is we're running a campaign right now in the park that's Business Grows Here, and we profile all these companies, is to really help our kids understand that whether it's Tiffin or Contract Pharmacal or Facebook or Google, there is a very, very large opportunity for innovation in companies, and I get it. So you don't go into a manufacturer necessarily and ride your skateboard. I get it. I get that piece. But what you do is you're able to bring your ideas. What you do is you're able to bring your innovation. So we just consistently need to profile the whole island and talk about this and talk about the great
Right.
part about it. You know, there have been several organizations that have come up that have, you know, promote Long Island
Right.
and things like that.
Because the HILLI is bigger than itself,
Yeah, absolutely.
if that makes sense to you.
Absolutely.
So the HIA-LI is a non-political organization.
Right.
But there are political things that come up. How do you deal with them? I'm going to bring up tariffs.
Yeah.
That has to be affecting some of the companies,
Yeah.
if not many, in the industrial
Yeah.
park.
So when we say we're non-political, what we mean is we don't take a Democratic or Republican side. But that doesn't mean we don't fight and fight very hard for business, because we do on a daily basis. So, you know, this issue of, I'm sure you're reading about prevailing wage, and, you know, them wanting to apply prevailing wage to a lot of these development projects that would, prevailing wage is much higher than even minimum wage. So what'll happen is it'll blow some of these development projects out of the water, and the IDAs that try to help and things like that. We went to bat with other organizations. We made phone calls to, you know, legislators and senators and whoever we had to call, and we write letters of support. So we do actively do that, because we hear these things from our members. Minimum wage,
Right.
a big issue for a lot of the companies, particularly small businesses, you know, on Long Island.
So how long have we been going?
6:15.
Hour and 33 minutes.
No way.
Wow,
Well-
that went fast.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
We've been live for an hour and 33 minutes, but the first like 20 minutes of that was just a placeholder. So
You went on at 5:30. It's 6:16.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of start to wrap up, because I don't have something to say. I have to get something here. You want to keep, I want my kid. I want to get the heck off Long Island, because it's not what I think it is. It's expensive to live here. It's not Brooklyn. What would you say to keep me here? B, what would you say if, no, let's start with A. What would you say to keep me here? Then I'll go to B later.
Okay. So a kid who wants the cool factor, I would
Yeah.
say look at what we're doing now to create a place for you where you can live, you can work, and you can play
But
all
how?
in the same place.
Because I don't see it. Tell me how.
Well, these projects we've been talking
Gotcha,
about.
okay.
So downtown Patchogue, the
gotcha.
Ronkonkoma
Right,
Hub,
okay.
Wine Dance Rising.
Yep.
That's the first piece.
Okay.
But the second piece is get yourself out there as a kid and understand what's on Long Island. Get yourself involved and understand the companies that are on Long Island and how you can make a difference. You know,
Right.
that's the thing I love about the millennials. As you look at that group and the groups coming up is, you know, what we know is that they really want to give back. They really want a sense of community. They really want all those things. And
Right.
I know that they can find it on Long Island.
Right. And now I'm a kid. I have an idea for a business. I want to move ahead. I want to do something. I got a lot of, you know,
Chutzpah.
I have chutzpah. Chutzpah. Give me some advice.
Yeah. So the first thing I would tell you to do is get yourself involved with the Small Business Administration. Get yourself involved with the launch pads of the world. Get yourself involved with, Stony Brook has a center called CWIT.
Yes.
These are all ways that you can help. They'll help you build a business plan. They'll help you look at revenue streams. They'll help you market whatever your product is. And then you should go through Dale Carnegie training, by the way. You really,
I'll
you
remember
really
that.
should. You should, as a person starting out a business.
It's still relevant.
It is very relevant.
Yeah.
I joke around, but it's really very
Right.
relevant.
So, how can we find you, Frank Parisi? How can we find you guys?
So you can log on to our website, hia-li.org.
Do we have? No, Frank can't find it.
It's okay. We can give you a call, or
Okay.
give us a call. Excuse me. Yeah, I know. 631-543-5355.
We can give them Lori's number too.
We are in the Long Island Innovation Park at Hauppauge. We're right in the Hauppauge Industrial Park, so we're at 225 Wireless Boulevard.
There's also some good restaurants in there as well.
There's some great restaurants. Yeah.
I know Lori and I go to.
Great things. I just found out about that place called Simplay.
Yeah.
I had my
They're an
dad's
active member.
Oh my God! I had
Oh,
my
they're
dad's
pretty cool.
surprise
Yeah.
party there for his 80th surprise
Yeah, I
party.
mean,
So
yeah.
they
What a great!
I hope Chuck's
place.
watching. I hope the owner's watching.
Oh my
He'll
gosh!
be
It is
excited you
so
mentioned it.
much fun,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for
It's a simulator. It's great.
It is
Yeah.
a fantastic
We
place to go.
need more of that in the park.
Right.
We need this balance of work and play in that park. And I think that will bring some of the cool factor to it.
Yeah,
if we have more of
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, and that's what our goal is.
Yeah.
Our goal is not only apartments, right? Because they
Right.
need a place to live, but certainly more restaurants, more areas like that, certainly more places to play and things like that as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if millennials only want that. I think we want that too.
We totally
right?
want it.
Right.
Yeah, Lori and I,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, okay, what do you want to do?
There.
We can,
And then walk
we
right
could
back
walk
to
there.
my house.
We could take Shelby the dog.
That's right. We could walk the dog
There
into
you
the
go.
Hauppauge Industrial Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Terry, I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
And I hope you come back.
Thank you.
And I hope that Frank J. Parisi was able to get your website on screen.
The actual website or just the?
No, the link.
Oh yeah, I brought it up before.
Oh, good. There we go. Frank J. That's so small. Oh my gosh. See how I said gosh because I didn't want to curse in front of Terry? Right? Because I don't really know. They kind of, yeah, I don't want to say that. Anyway, but no, thanks again. And thank you. And we will continue to promote you. I'm going to actually want to talk to you because it sounds like something that I'm going to want to get involved
Great.
with. I might even have Lori do cold calling for me all over the complex.
That'll be like 5 chips that you would use if I have to do things like that.
I have
5
so
favorite
many
chips.
more chits than
No,
that.
that would be 5 favorite
Yeah.
chips. That's it.
So
Done.
next week we are not on because Lori and I will be working in Boston.
You won't be working. I'll be working.
I will too be working,
No, I'll be working.
and but we'll be on the week after. I don't know if we have on Charles Thompson, the surgeon, or we're having on Joe Matalone, the sales coach. I'm not really sure, but we're having somebody on, and but we will keep you posted. We'll be putting clips up from this show, and we will stay in touch through all the social media channels, and we'll look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, 2 and 2, as they said in the Love Connection. So we will see you soon. Bye.